new Code of Conduct and its supporting regulations for short-term rental accommodation. Now, the new Code of Conduct came into play on the 18th of December last year. Yes, we're all in the middle of yet another shutdown in COVID and borders shut and all of those sorts of things, and along came the short-term rental accommodation. It is not referred to as holiday accommodation. Be very aware that it is short-term rental accommodation, definition of short-term being under 3 months. Now, these changes, and I know I've talked about it before, it is and also the Code of Conduct is one of the topics within the compulsory CPD this year, and we certainly explore this in great depth about the Code of Conduct and what those implications are for you as agents. I just thought we've had so many questions coming out of this from our CPD classes that I thought I'd broaden it out there and give you a bit of a taste of what you'll get when you come to compulsory CPD this year. These changes have been introduced to better manage and address some of the antisocial behaviours, the impacts to amenities, particularly in strata buildings, and other issues that are experienced by neighbours and local communities in relation to short-term rental accommodation. This Code of Conduct actually imposes obligations on all of the parties that are involved. So it's not just the host, it's not just the guests, it's you as agents, it's facilitators, it's the booking platform. There's a whole range here. So, there's things that your host needs to do, and that's, the person who's owning the property there. And, they've got to provide the accommodation in a condition, how it's been advertised. They've got to hold insurances. They've got to ensure the neighbours can contact you, if there's something going wrong. They've got to provide guests with a copy of the Code of Conduct. So in other words, just leave it in the property. Take reasonable steps to ensure that standards are being met. And, and they also need to this is the host, they need to register themselves and their premises on the short-term rental accommodation premises register once that comes into play, and that's due to come into play in November this year. Was due to come in July. It's been put off. It's now November. So we've got another, few months until we get to 6-7 months until we get to that requirement. So we'll get, and hopefully we'll get some more clarity around a number of the issues that aren't covered off in the actual Code of Conduct. Now, if you are a letting agent, here's where you as an agent comes into play. If you are a letting agent under this new code, you will need to inform hosts and guests about the code and how to lodge a complaint under that code. You'll need to inform hosts and guests of any complaints received about them in particular, and you'll need to stop renting or advertising the accommodation if the host or premises are recorded on the exclusion register. Again, we'll look at this in great detail in the CPD classes, so that will affect people who are doing who are being letting agents, and a lot more property managers now are moving into this space to where people are saying, oh well, let's where your landlords are saying, well, let's cash in on some of this money that's hanging around with the short-term rental process. This all comes about because of their requirement for guests and their visitors to adhere to certain behavioural standards and it's about noise, it's about damage, and it's about the use of common property in strata and community associations. So that's all, that's all there. Please be aware that it is another angle to, service provision within your organisation. And if you're going to go down that path, you need to know those requirements really well. As I said, we'll talk about it in great detail in CPD.